The man who runs fastest in a burning house still gets burned. If you earn money and still cannot breathe, the job is not saving you. A poor man with a paycheck is still a poor man. And if you do not change your direction, your effort will become your prison. If you are tired of surviving in public and suffering in private, stay here with me and subscribe. Do not do it for me. Do it as a promise to the version of you that refuses to die broke. Most people think the working poor are stuck because they do not try hard enough. They are wrong. The working poor are not trapped by effort first. They are trapped by design. I want you to picture a fly in a jar. I call this the glass jar life. The fly can move. The fly can work. The fly can even fight. But the glass is still there. It keeps the fly busy without letting it escape. That is how poverty works for millions of good people. It lets you move just enough to think you are close. You wake up early. You rush all day. You solve one problem and 3 more appear before sunset. Rent rises, food costs more, debt takes a bite, and one small mistake acts like a punishment from heaven. Then the shame begins. You blame yourself because you are always in motion. You ask, why am I still behind if I never stop? The answer is brutal, because movement inside a jar is not freedom. Most people think more hustle is the answer. They are wrong. If the walls stay the same, harder motion just means harder impact. The system likes tired people because tired people do not question the glass. Think about what hits you at once. Low wages, unstable hours, high fees, bad debt, cheap pleasure, stress, pressure from family, pressure from friends, and no room to think. That is not one problem. That is a cage with many bars. A child can understand this. If a fish swims in a bowl, the fish is not stupid because it cannot reach the ocean. It is trapped by the space around it. And you have been judging yourself for walls you did not build. I know you are tired. I know you have tried everything. And I know there are nights when you stare at the ceiling and wonder if this is just your life now. It is not. The moment you see the jar, you stop calling yourself the problem. The moment you name the trap, you stop worshiping the trap. That is the first breath of freedom. Hope begins when the lie dies. In this video, I am going to show you 5 traps that keep hardworking people poor. We are going to name every single one, strip away the shame, and understand why each trap feels so powerful. Then I'm going to give you the exact actions that help break those walls one by one. You do not need luck for this. You need clear eyes and steady steps. Now we enter the first trap. I call this the survival fog. This is the state where life keeps hitting you so fast that you stop making choices and start making reactions. You are alive, but you are not really steering. Picture a man named Jack. He works long shifts, answers messages after work, comes home late, and eats standing up in his kitchen. He means to sit down and plan his money. Instead, he falls asleep with tomorrow already crushing him. On Friday, he says he will fix everything over the weekend. Then Saturday comes and his body asks for rest. His kids need things. His car needs gas. The fridge looks empty and a bill hits his phone. By Sunday night, he is back at zero and he feels like a fool. But Jack is not a fool. Researchers at Princeton found that financial stress can lower mental performance by about 13 IQ points. That is like losing a full night of clear thinking while still having to make life decisions. Stress does not just hurt your feelings. It steals your judgment. Have you noticed how poor choices often happen when you feel rushed? Have you noticed how you spend more when you feel scared? Have you noticed how hard it is to think big when every hour feels urgent? That is not weakness. That is pressure doing exactly what pressure does. The average person says, I need to try harder. The free person says, I need enough space to think. That one difference changes everything. Clear thinking is a financial asset. So your first move is not some fancy investment. Your first move is what I call a breathing gap. You need a small pile of money that tells your nervous system, I can handle one bad day without collapsing. That pile may be $200. It may be $500. The number matters less than the breathing room. Find it this week. Sell what you do not use. Take one extra shift if you can. Pause one comfort expense. Cut one automatic payment. Push every spare dollar into a place that is separate from your spending money. Then give yourself one tiny daily ritual, 10 minutes every evening. That is all. Write down what came in, what went out, and what surprised you. Do not do this to punish yourself. Do it to wake yourself up. Fog survives in darkness. The moment you put light on your money, panic loses some of its power. I have watched many people fail because they wanted a perfect plan before taking a first step. Do not do that. A poor plan used today beats a perfect plan delayed for 6 months. Small clarity is still clarity. And hear me clearly. If all you do for the next month is build a breathing gap and track your dollars, you will already be more dangerous to poverty than you were before. Because now the fog is thinning. And when the fog thins, you can finally see the second wall. Now we enter the second trap. I call this the leaky bucket. This is what happens when money comes in, but little holes carry it away before it ever gets a chance to serve you. Most people do not lose their future in one disaster. They lose it in 100 tiny leaks. Think about Sarah. She gets paid, feels relief for a few hours, and by Monday that relief is gone. She cannot explain it. She did not buy anything huge. She did not book a vacation. She just lived. A snack here, a delivery fee there, a late charge she forgot. a streaming service she never uses, a few app purchases, a buy now, pay later payment, one ride because she was too tired to wait. None of those things look evil alone. That is the trick. They travel in costumes so they can pass your guard. Tiny leaks wear the face of normal life. In The Richest Man in Babylon, one of the oldest money lessons is simple. Keep part of what you earn. People hear that line and think it is too basic to matter. But simple ideas are often the ones people avoid because they remove excuses. The poor person sees $10 as harmless. The free person sees repeated spending as a pattern. That one difference changes everything. Patterns decide lives. Do you know why many families never feel a raise? Because the raise arrives, but the leaks get there first. New comfort, new habit, new monthly trap. Income goes up. Freedom stays flat. So I want you to do something very plain and very powerful. Print your last 30 days of spending or look at them on your phone with a notebook beside you. Circle every dollar that did not make your life safer, stronger, or richer. Then total it. Do not guess. Measure. Now choose 3 leaks to kill this week, not 10. 3. Maybe 1 subscription, 1 food habit, and 1 fee. You're not trying to become a monk. You're trying to stop bleeding. Then create what I call a job list for your money. Before payday arrives, give each dollar a name. Rent, food, gas, buffer, debt, seed money. If money has no assignment, it disappears looking for one. A dollar without a job is like a bored teenager with car keys. It will go somewhere, and there is a good chance you will not like where. Discipline is not punishment. It is direction. I want you to remember this line. You do not need a bigger bucket yet. You need fewer holes. Until you fix the leaks, every raise will feel like rain in a broken roof. Before we go any further, have you ever felt a paycheck hit your account and still felt fear instead of peace? Have you ever said, where did it all go? Even when you thought you were being careful. If that is your life, would you write yes in the comments so you know you are not fighting this alone? And if this is finally putting words to your pain, would you subscribe and stay with me to the end? Now we enter the third trap. I call this the hour cage. This is where every dollar still depends on the next hour you sell, which means your life cannot widen because your time cannot stretch forever. A cage is still a cage even when the bars are made of overtime. Picture 2 men. Mike works all the hours he can grab. He says yes to weekends, yes to late shifts, yes to every extra call. He is exhausted, but his income barely moves after taxes, fees, and chaos. Then there is Daniel. He works too. He is tired too. But each night, before he gives his last hour to mindless scrolling, he gives 45 minutes to a skill that raises his value. In 1 year, Mike is still asking for more hours. Daniel's asking for better pay. Mike is still trying to squeeze more life out of the same old job. Daniel has become more useful, and usefulness gets paid. Cal Newport wrote in So Good They Can't Ignore You that career power comes from rare and valuable skills. Charlie Munger said the best way to get what you want is to deserve what you want. Both ideas point to the same truth. Your income follows your usefulness. The employee mindset sees a job as the whole game. The free mindset sees a job as one platform and a larger plan. That one difference changes everything. One rents time, the other builds leverage. And let me make that word simple. Leverage means one action gives you more result than before. If you learn a skill that lets you earn $30 an hour instead of $15, that is leverage. If you create something once and sell it many times, that is leverage. If your knowledge makes your labor worth more, that is leverage. So here's your move. Choose one skill that people pay for and that can raise your income within 90 days. Not someday, not after you feel inspired. Within 90 days. It could be basic bookkeeping. It could be customer support for small businesses. It could be sales. It could be learning how to run a simple software tool. It could be driving a better route, fixing common home issues, cleaning professionally, editing short videos, or using spreadsheets well. Then build a hard rule. 45 minutes a day, 5 days a week, 12 weeks, no debate, no waiting for motivation. And do not just learn in secret. Produce proof. Make one sample. Help one person. Offer one service. Apply for one better role every weekday. Skill matters, but proof pays. Ask one sharp question at your job too. Who here earns more than I do, and what do they know that I do not? If the answer is learnable, learn it. If the answer is nothing useful and the ceiling is low, begin your exit plan with open eyes. Most people say they have no time. What they often mean is they have no energy, and that is fair. But if you spend every last bit of your energy only keeping the cage clean, the cage stays forever. You do not need 5 new skills. You need one skill that changes your price. That is how the hour cage begins to crack. And once you start earning more, a more dangerous trap appears. Now we enter the 4th trap. I call this the status fire. This is the trap that burns people the moment life starts getting better. It whispers, you suffered enough, now prove you are finally winning. A man named Chris gets a raise. He upgrades his phone, his shoes, his car payment, and his weekend habits in the same season. From the outside, he looks more successful. From the inside, he is still one emergency away from panic. Another man, Leo, gets the same raise. He keeps the same life for 1 year. Same apartment, same car, same simple habits. But behind the scenes, his savings rise, his debt falls, and his choices widen. In The Millionaire Next Door, Thomas Stanley showed that many wealthy people do not live in flashy ways at all. That surprises the average person because the average person thinks wealth should be loud. Real wealth is often quiet. Real wealth is options. The average person sees spending as proof. The free person sees margin as power. That one difference changes everything. Looking rich delays freedom. Being free makes looking rich irrelevant. Let me say something painful. Many people do not really want freedom. They want the appearance of freedom. They want to feel respected. They want to feel seen. And stores know this. Have you noticed how ads never sell the product first? They sell the feeling. The car means status. The clothes mean worth. The phone means relevance. The trip means you have finally arrived. But if a purchase has to announce your value is still rented. The day you stop needing applause is the day your money starts staying with you. That is a hard truth. But hard truths are useful. So your prescription here is what I call plain power. For the next 30 days, buy no status. No purchases made to impress. No upgrades made from ego. No reward spending just because the week was rough. Before any non-essential purchase, wait 72 hours. Write down the item, the price, and what problem it actually solves. If the problem is boredom, sadness, loneliness, or comparison, do not buy the item. Name the feeling instead. Unfollow the accounts that make you feel poor for living a normal life. Stay away from stores when you are angry. Do not carry your full payment methods into every app. Friction protects freedom. And if you get a raise, split it before lifestyle touches it. Half to debt, half to savings or investing. Or whatever clean ratio keeps your future stronger than your image. Money must hear your plan before the world hears your success. Do you know why this trap is so dangerous? Because spending feels like relief. It feels like healing. It feels like, finally, I get something too. But if every hard week ends with buying, pain becomes a salesman. No one claps for restraint. No one posts your canceled subscription. No one admires your smaller car payment. But the life you want is built in those invisible choices. You do not become free by looking free. You become free by needing less approval than other people expect. That is the fire lesson. And if you survive that fire, you are ready for the final wall. Before I show you the last trap, let me ask you something honest. Have you ever bought something just to feel less behind, less small, or less invisible? Have you ever raised your lifestyle faster than you raised your safety? If you felt that in your chest, would you tell me in the comments what purchase keeps pulling you backward? And if you want more truth like this, would you subscribe before we finish the most important part? Now we enter the fifth trap. I call this the seedless life. This is where every extra dollar gets used for the present, which means the future never gets planted. When a person lives without seeds, that person must keep begging each season for shade. Think about Kevin. He gets a tax refund and feels saved for one weekend. He catches up on bills, buys a few rewards, helps a few people, and tells himself he will start fresh next month. By next month, the money is gone and the old pressure is back. Then there is Rosa. She also has pressure. She also has bills. She also wants relief. But the moment extra money touches her hand, she plants some before life can swallow all of it. She knows something simple. A dollar can be a bandage or it can be a seed. A bandage helps one wound today. A seed helps many wounds tomorrow. If you never plant, your future stays hungry. John Bogle built Vanguard around a plain idea. For many regular people, simple low-cost index investing beats chasing hot tips and fancy promises over time. I have said for years that most people are better off owning a low-cost index fund and letting time do the heavy lifting. You do not need genius here. You need patience. The poor person sees extra money as permission to breathe for a day. The free person sees extra money as a worker that can serve for years. That one difference changes everything. Money that stays alive becomes your helper. Now let me be clear. If you have debt charging 20% or more, killing that debt is one of the best investments you can make. There is no magic stock that safely beats that kind of burden. But once toxic debt is under control, you must begin planting. Start small if you must. $25 a week, $50 a week. 10% of each paycheck if you can. The point is not to look impressive. The point is to break the habit of consuming every extra dollar. Open one account that is hard to touch. Automate the transfer. Let the money leave before your feelings vote on it. Discipline works best when it needs less discussion. If your employer offers a retirement match, try hard to get the full match over time. That is free money. If you do not have that option, build your emergency fund and learn one simple investment path instead of chasing excitement. Boring often wins. And there is another kind of seed: tools, training, small business equipment, a course that teaches a useful service, a license that raises your earning power. Seeds are not always stocks. Seeds are anything that can grow future income or future safety. Most people stay poor because they only think in bills. They do not think in seeds. Every month becomes a battle. Every year becomes a repeat. And then they call it bad luck. You are not trying to win one paycheck. You are trying to build a life where money arrives from more than pure exhaustion. That is a different goal, and different goals demand different habits. $100 a month may look small to the world, but to the person who has always lived at zero, it is a revolution. It says, I am no longer eating my whole future. That sentence can change a life, but knowledge alone does not finish this. The hardest part is not math. The hardest part is the moment when your old world notices you are changing. That is where many people turn around. Now we come to the great filter. This is the moment when temptation, social pressure, and fear all gather at your door at the same time. Not because you are doing something wrong, because the old version of your life is fighting to survive. At first it feels small. You stop going out every weekend. You bring lunch from home. You skip the upgrade. You leave the store. You keep your extra cash. You say no more often. Then people start noticing. A friend says you are acting weird. A cousin says money is meant to be enjoyed. A coworker laughs because you are still driving the old car. Someone close to you asks why you think you are better than them. This is the crab bucket effect. If crabs sit in a bucket, the ones below pull down the one trying to climb out. People do this too, not always because they hate you, sometimes because your growth shines a cruel light on their own excuses. And let me tell you something that may sting. The closer the person is to you, the deeper the sting can go. A stranger mocking your discipline is easy. A friend mocking your discipline can shake your whole heart. A partner mocking your discipline can make you doubt your own plan. This is where many people fail. Not because they lack knowledge, not because the plan was bad, because they got lonely and mistook loneliness for wrong direction. So protect yourself here. I call this building a quiet wall. Do not announce every move. Do not explain your whole budget to people who do not respect restraint. Do not hand your fragile new habits to careless mouths. Keep one or two people near you who respect growth. Read books from people who live this path. Listen to voices that call you upward, not backward. If your room laughs at discipline, find a better room. You also need short answers ready, not long speeches. Short answers. I am working on some goals right now. I'm keeping things simple for a while. I have other priorities at the moment. Short answers save energy. Long explanations invite debate. You are not on trial for trying to stop drowning. You are building a future, not winning a courtroom argument. And be careful with guilt. Poor people are often trained to feel guilty the moment they say no. No to lending money they cannot spare. No to social spending they cannot afford. No to carrying other adults who refuse to carry themselves. You can love people without financing their denial. You can care about family without joining every bad habit. You can be generous later. Right now, your first duty is to stop your own leak. I know this part hurts. I know it feels cruel when the people you love are used to the version of you that always says yes. But if they need you weak in order to feel close to you, that is not love guiding the moment. That is fear. So when the pressure comes, do not panic. Pressure is proof that the old life is losing its grip. A wall that never gets pushed never gets tested, and a tested wall becomes stronger. You do not need the crowd to agree. You do not need instant results to stay faithful. You only need enough courage to protect your next wise step. One step is enough for today. Now let me give you the escape plan. Not fantasy, not hype. A simple map with stages you can actually walk. Because a dream without a schedule is just another bedtime story. Stage 1 is called Stop the Sink. This is what you do this week. Build your breathing gap, track every dollar for 7 straight days, and cut 3 leaks before the next payday arrives. Your goal is simple. Raise your first emergency cushion of $200 to $500 as fast as you honestly can. Sell unused items. Take 1 extra work opportunity. Pause 1 comfort expense. Return what you do not need. Also in stage 1, make 1 list called Never Again. Write down the fees, habits, and mistakes that keep hurting you. Late payments, impulse food spending, ignoring the bank app, borrowing for wants. This list becomes your warning sign. Stage 2 is called Raise Your Price. This covers the next 90 days. Choose 1 skill that can grow your income. Study it 45 minutes a day and create proof every single week. No random learning. Focused learning. Set a clear target. Maybe you want an extra $300 a month. Maybe $500. Maybe you want to move from $15 an hour to $20. Tie the skill to a number so your effort has direction. During these 90 days, apply outward too. Do not just prepare in silence forever. Send applications. Offer your service. Ask for better tasks. Tell the market you are changing, not just your notebook. At the same time, attack 1 debt with force. 1 card, 1 loan, 1 ugly balance. A smaller number of enemies is easier to beat than a crowd of them. Stage 3 is called Build the Engine. This is your 1 to 3 year window. Once the leaks are smaller and your value is higher, your job is to build a life that does not break every time 1 bill goes wrong. Your targets here are plain. Build 3 to 6 months of living costs in cash. Invest Invest 10 to 15% of income if you can. Keep your lifestyle steady even when your income rises. Let extra money become assets before it becomes appearance. This stage may include a retirement account. It may include a simple low-cost index fund. It may include a small business, better tools, a license, or equipment that helps you earn more with less strain. Remember the goal: more freedom from each hour sold, and do not rush the order. First comes oxygen, then comes higher value, then comes long-term growth. If you skip oxygen, stress ruins your thinking. If you skip value, low income chokes your progress. If you skip growth, you may earn more and still die tired. This map is not glamorous. That is why it works. Simple plans are easier to repeat, and repeated plans change identities. You do not need to become a different species. You do not need to be born into money. You do not need to know the right people first. You need to stop sinking, stop leaking, raise your price, resist false status, and plant your seeds. We walk through the survival fog, the leaky bucket, the hour cage, the status fire, and the seedless life. We face the great filter where other people try to pull you backward, and we turn the whole thing into a path with steps you can take right now. That is how escape begins. Now return with me to the glass jar life. The jar felt like the whole world because you kept hitting it without seeing it. But once you know where the glass is, you stop wasting yourself on blind impact. You push where the opening is. Freedom begins when you stop mistaking motion for progress. So hear me one last time. You are not broken. You are not lazy. You are not doomed to stay the person your hardest years created. You can act this week, protect your future, and build a life that no longer feeds on your exhaustion. Make the first move before this feeling fades. Track the money, cut the leaks, learn the skill, refuse the fire, plant the seed. That is all. Thank you for watching.